Larry, anything you want to say real quick on what staff may have told you? Or?
Just briefly, Mayor and Board and Ms. Andrews, Anthem did attend the Architectural Design Review Commission, and you were present along with one other individual. So there were 2 neighbors at that meeting. They will be returning to the Architectural Design and Review Board, addressing any of the concerns that the board may have had and that you may have expressed. But they are fully committed to comply with the approvals that were granted by this board and by the Planning Commission. There are some statements you've made that are inconsistent with the record, but they're more than happy to address that at the next meeting that they are on the agenda for. Anthem in this development will be called Grace Point. I believe that their submittal, the architectural, the efforts they've made are completely consistent, particularly with the neighbors who live directly to the west, who would be most impacted as far as the design of the fence that the residents felt would be most appropriate. They went to the Harker pumping station, which has a similar wrought iron fence with brick columns, and they are committed to constructing at a cost of over $145,000 that sort of a wall versus something that would be more austere but compliant with the law. The landscaping plan all has been approved by the Architectural Design Committee and was submitted to them for review. They're very impressed with that plan. The issue of the fencing around the retention pond, we don't fence most of the water areas in the village of Oak Lawn, whether it be at the nearby Park District, whether it be along Stony Creek, whether it be Wolf Wildlife, whether it be the detention ponds at Stony Creek Promenade. That is not a requirement to do so, but they're cognizant of public safety and concerns. That is a dry detention area. It is designed that in the event you have a 50-year flood, a significant flood, a blockage anywhere in the neighborhood stormwater system, that is there to help the area in terms of flooding. And it will take on water, and then it will slowly release that water in a short period of time into the Stony Creek, which is our water floodplain district area close by. So they've taken that all into consideration. I think their engineers and their architectural firm are without doubt top quality from all the applications that our staff has to review, that Mr. Gallagher and our building official, Mr. McKenna, review on a weekly basis. So they, I think, have met and will respond to all the concerns you've mentioned from a factual, from a legal, and from being a good neighbor. There was an issue over the lighting for the proposed sign, and their preference is to have a very ground-lit, low-intensity, not impacting the adjacent neighborhood, and they will have that discussion with the Architectural Design Review Commission again. That was an issue, I think, that was expressed by you and others that were present, and they're aware of that. Mayor, I don't have anything further to say other than that they will appear. That's a public meeting, not a public hearing, but that's a posted meeting. They meet, subject to the holiday season, they meet on Thursday evenings twice a month. And again, that's another volunteer board-appointed group of taxpayers like yourself that do a very good job for the village, and I'm sure that they'll take all your concerns and any concerns that you may have that develop between now and that meeting into consideration.
Thank you, Larry. And we're going to move on now.
Mayor, I'll make a comment on that.
Okay.
And thanks for showing up. So, Larry, thank you for adding the lighting. Was one of the items that the developer or the Anthem committed to addressing. That wasn't included in the remarks. But as far as the 95-foot or the, you know, there was back and forth with some numbers because it was based on where we're measuring from, right? So I think what, Jack, I don't know if you have the number, but it was from the structure to the property line is the number.
Jack, can you get a microphone, please? Sorry.
So that should be a pretty easy one to give you an answer on.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I pulled the minutes and the plans from the PDC to make sure we've reviewed them before the ADRC. But they're an appearance board, the ADRC. They're not a zoning board, so there's nothing. They're not going to make decisions that change.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
That was brought up, and we agree, and we'll be able to give you an answer. But if you're looking at, we're measuring from the structure to the property line adjacent to the building, to Anthem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It specifically states, and Commissioner Egan re-asked the question, from the zero lot line, the closest portion of the building would be 95. And as far as the information about the fence around the detention basin, I'm going off information that Isaac Scott had stated roughly at the 25-minute mark of 50 minutes. So I'm not trying to provide misinformation, I'm not trying to mislead anyone. I want the neighborhood to be given what we're committed to by this village.
Yeah. And so do they. And but I don't remember I remember the fence being talked about around the property lines. I don't remember it around the.
That's correct.
But
It was discussed.
But I'm not, that's okay. And then as far as the generator, that was discussed, and they were gonna make their best effort.
Well, I don't want to disappoint you, but let me address that issue as well. The plans have not changed that were submitted before the Architectural Design Board and also the Planning Commission and the Village Board. The west elevation shows parking and also shows a required fenced enclosure for the trash receptacle and also for the backup power generation system. First of all, I'm extremely pleased that we're building a facility with a backup generator. We have facilities in this community that do not have, including when I came here in 2007, we had municipal buildings, including fire stations, without a backup power supply in the event of a failure. We've done our best to address those concerns, and going forward, any new applicants, new developments are required to have that backup generation if it's a structure like Anthem that is serving the general public and in the healthcare industry. They can't move the generator. It's positioned because of the power supply from ComEd and where that power supply has to be secured. But it is fenced. And a generator is only exercised once a month. I could take you to the Advocate Breast Center on 103rd, and I could show you the proximity to the residential neighborhood much closer than what you have in your case. But we worked with the neighbors, and the timing when it is exercised once a month to make sure that in the event of a unforeseen natural disaster and loss of power, that it has to kick on, you exercise it once a month. That time can be put at a time that's acceptable to the neighbors. It can be when everyone's at work or when folks are not at home in the evening when they want to enjoy themselves. So it can be an afternoon start time or a morning time, very much like we once a month exercise our emergency alert system and alarm through the village of Oak Lawn. We don't do it at 5 a.m. We don't do it at 4 a.m. in the morning. We do it at 10 a.m. on a Tuesday.
That shouldn't be a disruption at all.
Right.
Yeah. So we'll work with you on that. In terms of the trash receptacle, I was very pleased to say that they would take a look at that. They never committed to the relocation to the southeast side, but they would certainly take a look at it, and I encouraged them to do that and report back to the Architectural Design Review Board, and they will do that as well.